Vayichan sham Yisrael enged ha'ar kulanu ke'echad.
The topic is Ki ish echad b'lei v'echad. I assume that the reason that this topic was picked because that is an achdustic topic. You're talking about the ganz Klal Yisrael came to hear the Das Hashem and the Ratzon Hashem with the experience, obviously, that they were going to listen to it. So I have a kasha. What happened? Why aren't we like that? Why weren't they even then like that? Why do you look at all the machlekes we had in the midbar? They all were coming to listen to the same thing, only what they thought Hashem is. How could you have machlekes like that? So all of us, you do have, obviously, people's, their own, I guess, prejudices, the giyusin that exist. And we'll talk about, possibly we saw it right away. There were really 3 Kabbalas HaTorah. There was not just one, it was 3 times. One is in Parshas Yisrael and 2 are in Parshas Mishpatim. The one in Parshas Yisrael is called Shadiva Hashem Naseh. That happens to be a commitment that whatever God says, I'm going to listen to. Okay? Now, they said this, of course, when the Rebbe Shem told them, V'atem tiyeli mamlechas kahana v'gei kodesh. Eila advar asher tidaber b'nei Yisrael, that's what he told Moshe Rabbeinu. And Rashi says, Lo paschas v'lo yesa. Now, it's 6 words is all they said. Now, if I tell you you're going to be the biggest, you want to be one of the mamlechas kahanim, you want to be God's chosen people, well, without knowing what it means, it sounds great. So we want to be the God's chosen people. Okay, so we all set up, whatever he says, we goes. Then Moshe Rabbeinu may have told me, because Rashi brings down the Mishpatim when they said, the next Kabbalah was, Kol hadvorim asher nasu. Asher, Kol hadvorim asher diber nas. What does the Rashi say over there? It says that took place on the 4th day, which is 1 day later than it did place of the one called Shadiba Hashem Naseh. And that was not even accepted by Kodesh Baruch Hu. That was not considered a Kabbalah HaTorah. Obviously, what was wrong with it? When you divide the Torah in the Kol Advar Shadiba Hashem, means everything he said is right. Means I examined the things, the words that he said, to see if I agree with it. And since I agree with everything he said, so I'm willing to accept it. So the meaning is that they have this expression always, if I understand it, I accept it, I do it. Then it's not God's Torah, it's your Torah. If you understand it, that's when you do it. The whole idea is to learn from God, what God wants you to do. And therefore, maybe by working on that, trying to understand what God wants me to do, maybe I'll reach a certain madrega because of it. That's the second one. And for that, they brought korbanos. And because of that, they wanted to to show that there's no more nikiyus. They said, Nasa v'nishma. Kol asher diber Hashem Nasa v'nishma. And Nasa v'nishma, the way normally the world translates it, is we will do, and then we'll try to understand it. If that's a case, that somehow doing the commitment to do before we understand is a great commitment, the Kol asher diber Hashem Nasa is a bigger commitment. Because I'm not very interested to ask you why. You know, so if you nishma means I want to know why, that means they have certain nifucht you want to know where you holding at it. So Shiva's Zatzal learned that it means Kol asher diber Hashem Nasa. We will do v'nishma. We will listen how to do. We ask for our rebbeim how to do the mitzvah, or how to do what the understanding. So that means basically we mevatel ourselves. We have no opinion here. We're going to ask our rebbes what it means. So what we accomplished was a very interesting thing. The Vayichan Kol asher diber Hashem Naseh. They said the first statement. That means 600,000 people are going to hear the Torah from Yad Hashem HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself. and they're going to have 600,000 different opinions of what they heard. It won't be far off. It won't be pshat that I reject this or I don't reject this. The question is, what did they hear? It's like tasters. You have different tasters, and you have tasters in the Gemara. Then you have the tasters of Rosh and the pellets and whatever the tasters you have. And they're off by one word or something. And that one word changes the meaning completely. Makes it more understandable, true. But it changes the word, makes the meaning differently, and then you're really arguing the two shittas. So but they all heard about the same thing. So it's considered hearing one Torah. So we would have had 600,000 Torahs, and there would be no heter for one to ask another guy, what did God say over here? Because you're supposed to listen to yourself. You're supposed to use your own seichel. By the second one, because we're willing to listen to our Rebbeim, and then the Moshe Rabbeinu to be the interpreter between them. So then, of course, it's a different story. Then it's called Shadan, and then we can ask a Shaila because we're relying on him anyway. And we see another ayat to this thing but in both the first two, it said Kol Echad or Yachto. They all answer at the same time. That means that we're making the same commitment. On the third one, it doesn't say Yachto or Kol Echad. It just said Nasa and Ishma. When you have one teacher, you don't have to have the same. You don't have to say it at one time because you only have one day. Now, of course, I'll interpret this way, you'll interpret that way, but we're all interpreting what the Rebbe said. So a lot of things started like from the middle one, that, what I understand and so on. And of course, less and less they understood and whatever it is, and it's Yitzhak to do what they want to. Okay. So a lot of the factions that started because they had a Yitzhak. The Yitzhak was that they certain laxity they wanted, whatever that means, and they felt it was more liberal, whatever the reasons are. Doesn't make, but I have to agree with it. And if I don't agree with it, I don't do it. So therefore, like I said, it's your Torah. Okay. And this really existed in their time too, because you had Rav Reuven and Kerach and all these guys who made machlekes and against the Bein Shalom, against his parts of what he said. It didn't make a difference, but it wasn't a complete commitment afterwards. Originally, it was a complete commitment. Now, in our time, it's become a joke to a certain extent. What do I mean? You have each one keeps making more coolest than the other one. I'll give you a marshal, like the conservatives claimed they were never going to make intermarriage. And that's reform. Conservative to conservative Torah. Okay, now they make intermarriage. Okay, why? Because it's too competitive. There's no more conservatives. Conservatives is a dying institution. On the other hand, reform is a growing institution from Goyim. A lot of Gerim, if you want to call it that type of a Ger. So people want to be Jewish a little bit. And those are the game. And we have, Baruch Hashem, a nice birth rate. And we also have the fact that people who realize the truth come back. And therefore, we have a growing community while they're falling apart. When I say it became a joke, the joke that used to be, in my time, we're talking about a guy who was applying to be a Rav somewhere. And the president is giving him the tips of what he should talk about. He says, don't talk about Shabbos, because most of the people are Mechali Shabbos. Don't talk about Gezel, because the businessmen. And, it's a rough world out there, dog eat dog. And they're not exceptionally honest. They cheat a little here. Don't talk about kosher because they have business meetings and so on. They can't afford the kosher stuff. And you go through everything, so the rabbi, yes. So what should I talk about? He says Judaism. Okay. He always just told with a joke, of course, with an accent, because the ones who had this thing were guys who came from Europe yet. And so the idea was that they don't want anything, but they want that semblance of religion. I want to be considered a religious person. And there has to be a commitment to HaKadosh Baruch Hu if you want to be a religious person. Whoever set up the settlers, a very interesting thing. Bamidbar always has to come out before Shavuos. Sometimes you'll have Nosei also, but Bamidbar must always be before Shavuos. And the expression is brought down in the Bianca Siddur, count and be mikam. Or Shiva said it used to be the Lashon of the people. Simple, count and be mikam. But what has counting got to do with being mikabel the Torah? The idea was this: when you count, you're one, and Moshe Rabbeinu is one. So you're equal to Moshe. What do you mean you're equal to Moshe? You're nothing compared to Moshe. Yeah, but Moshe Rabbeinu did the best with all the kishonis that God gave him, and I'm doing the best with all the kishonis God gave me, and that makes us both equal. The fact that he has more kishonis than me doesn't make him bigger than me. Make me bigger doesn't make me greater than me. I have the same, being me and doing the best I can is him. And that's what we care. Everyone is counted. And now let's go tuck in how they counted. They used to count everyone. They give machzis hashekel, and that's the way they counted the people. Why do they count the people with a machzis hashekel? Of course, you shouldn't count like this. And if in case you should give the money to stock it, you know, vibes kesef hakipurim. If you count, you got a magefa, you got what do you call it, whatever you want to call it. I don't understand. We have a census in the United States, right? There's a reason for it. And even in Eretz Yisrael, there's a reason for a census. How many yeshivas we should build? You can't just say we don't know how many people there are here. No, we have to know how many people there are. You want to go to the war? How many soldiers am I going to have? It's important to know these things. He said, pshat's like this. I want you to count. I want you to count how many people I have on my side, the Benishim side. Right? You claim you are one of them. Are you truly one of them? You do everything you're supposed to do? Well, not everything. Most of the things, so you're really not a full soldier. You're really not a full hunter. So the Benishim says, I only want to know who the full soldiers are. So if you pass the test and you're talking a full soldier, fine. If you're not, then the money goes for Kesef HaKippur. So we only have the kasha. If it's no good to count, so why are we counting? And if it's important to count, of course we should count. So why are you not? The point is, I want you to count. I want you to try to become who you should become. And if I take away that from you, you won't aim for it even anymore. Therefore, that's the important part. Okay. Now, I guess that now we come back to the point of how do we build Torah. So it's interesting. There's one sipone, only one in Parashat Pikudei, and it tells you from the detaches up the pasuk to show that what had to go up first was the Mishkan. What's the Mishkan? Not the building. The Esiriyos, the ceiling, had to go up first. So he says that means you have to either have tall ladders or you have to have a miracle happen. But the idea is the roof, the ceiling goes up first, and then you put the adonim, that's the foundation, and then you put the kroshim, which the walls, and that reaches the thing. It doesn't make any sense. So the idea is, and it's one of the problems we have when we try to build the yeshiva, we think, how do you build? We come in, let's say, out of town. Well, let's take in most places out of town. Why aren't they in the same level as a New York yeshiva? Why they call it day school? Because usually when you build them, you say, well, let's see how much we can do with them, right? So we say, we like this much, right? We don't have a goal in how much we should cover. Whatever we can cover, that's how much we're going to cover. That way you'll end up, by the time you get the 8th grade, maybe you'll learn Mishnayos. The first thing you have to say, look, is that that's our goal. We want to make them the ceiling. That's where we're going. We're going to the top. And now the figure is, we have 8 years or 5 years or 2 years to make a difference to get to that top. So what do we have to cover each time? We set our curriculum according to that. All of a sudden, everybody's up to that level. That's the point. So it has to come. So why the Adonim? Next, the support of Chayrish, but the Koshim, then the Adonim, maybe, I don't know. Maybe too heavy to lift them up again. I can't answer that. But the Koshim, the Adonim, is the foundation. And that's interestingly, the Adonim were made from a Machzah shekel from everybody. And that was the Adonim. And that was made for the foundation. We need to tell you, every Jew in Klal Yisrael is entitled to the same foundation. That's what we're entitled to. And if we have that, then we can climb and reach the ceiling. We become the boards. We become the cushion. And no matter what level we're on, but as long as we're doing the best we can in the situation that we are, that's reaching the ceiling. So we reach the ceiling. Everybody reaches that ceiling. So that's what we have to have. How do we make a lasting commitment? Every year we do make a commitment every year. That we say that Shavuos is once a year. We always, with a bracha, you should have an emes of Kabbalas HaTorah. What does it mean? It means I'm accepting again the Torah. Each time I try again. I'm going to try again. I'm going to be definitely Mekabel the Torah the right way. Next year, probably didn't do as good a job as I should have done. So I try again. Okay. So how do you make this commitment to yourself? So, Kana Baraisa in the 6th parak of Pirkei Avos, Kachi Garke Shel Torah. This is the way of the Torah. Pasman of Torah, Manam Shalotiste. Whatever it is there, it's a point of sacrifice to a certain extent. We don't really sacrifice like that. Baruch Hashem, we give you good meals. You sleep a good night. You have soda besides water. Plenty of things. What do you mean this thing? So Rashi says it means even if it means that. I find it that's so schwer. And the reason why I am able to understand it because I have a yeshiva for kids and grown-ups. And when especially when a kid comes, and he's just over by mitzvah, he's 14, let's say, just over by mitzvah, and he's complaining to his mother every night, I got too many people in my room. I don't even like everybody there, and the food I don't care for. You make me special food. Here, nobody's making special food for me. The mattresses are a little bumpy, right? I'm happy. But the mother doesn't give in. I mean, the kid's still there. And after about a month's time, the kid stops complaining. And the mother asks, what happened to your complaints? He says, I love it here. What do you mean you love it here? I sacrificed, and I found out in the end it was no sacrifice. But probably with the Daf Yomi people, you can hear this again. Person going Daf Yomi. Has to get up 5 o'clock. He has to go here at 5 o'clock. He's up at 4 or 3:30. And some days he has to listen to it again. He didn't get it good. And he comes back at night and goes to the 11 o'clock. That means he's going to have very little sleep that night. And he's tired the next day. So he's complaining to his friend, oh, am I tired? And his friend says, with your schedule, so why don't you quit? Why don't you stop doing Daf Yomi? He says, I can't, that's my life. All of a sudden, it's not sacrifice anymore. This is more important than all the other stuff. And therefore I can do it. It's hard, I didn't say it wasn't hard, but I'm not giving it up. That's a commitment. Now, how do you train yourself to come out with what we have to come out the right Torah, as we're going to call it? One, there's no pre-conclusions. In other words, a lot of the problems with Reform and conservatism, or even the modern Orthodox or something like that, whatever terminology you use, is we want to have this kula. And therefore, we're going to be matalit, and now we're going to figure out how to be matalit. You can't do that. What you do is, I want to know what God says. Sit down and learn without any negation and see what God says. Okay. Now, how will you get this really discussions? You put it, call it Tupa Chaverim. How do you get Tupa Chaverim? So Yeshivas Hakotel used to have a very simple way. You should have your Chavrusa. You should prepare the Gemara before you learn with the Chavrusa. Normal Chavrusa, you have one dominant member and one non-dominant. One who's speaking is the dominant member. And therefore, unless he says something very not right, the other guy is going to be agreeable. But what happens if I prepared the Gemara before, and you prepared the Gemara before? And anything that you say, I'm going to argue with you. So therefore, it creates Tupa Chaverim. I don't need 100 people for Tupa Chaverim. 2 people is all I need. Me and my Chavrusa. And at the end, you should reach a conclusion. Didn't say halacha l'maisa because you don't know if it is. You haven't known Chas yet. But this Gemara holds this way. That much I know. And I just want to put in this point of learning the Shema, just to give an uptight to what it means. Learning the Shema the real way means I'm learning Torah for no other reason except to know that that's Hashem. That's the only reason I'm learning Torah. I believe that a lot of the coronavirus was because he was a big question. Closed up our yeshivas. Bilam Avosha couldn't close it up. Now, with all this close, the Vayichan made change the whole world system. That the Torah shouldn't be chal. So, and a virus that Vayichan says is going to have a side effect of closing the yeshivas. No. There's one reason I wanted to close the yeshivas. I want you to think about, are you doing the right thing? I want to bring Mashiach already. It's time. It's almost 6,000 years. I have to bring Mashiach soon. Can I? In this thing. So the Vayichan, so the way they get us to know what the Das Hashem is. Right? There are, and there's a people that learn like this. Unfortunately, that they learn Leil Shema, where I don't have to come up with any conclusions. It's not important for me to know what the Das Hashem is. It's Abaye, it's Rav. It's not Abaye saying Das Hashem. No, Rav is saying Das Hashem. So what happens is, and this is a Maisa Shehab, the Shehoyer, Emerson. Remember, I saw such a Talmud. Okay, he was complaining to me. Why is it that Mashkiach is asking him why didn't he come to Davnik? Why doesn't he come to Sdom on time? And he gave me a bechin and I didn't know. And he's yelling at me. Why is he picking on me? I'm learning, isn't it enough that I'm learning Torah L'Shma? I came to Yeshiva, not doing anything except to learn Torah. So I go for a little. So what's wrong with that? That's not the L'Shma we're talking about. I learn without reason. Of course I learn with a reason. The reason that that's a shame. But after that reason, it's like it's without any reason. Okay. If Taki, we're able to change our attitude, that it's not just mental gymnastics, and it's not just a debate team or a group of people that just it's part. I like to be part of the chabura or something, or it's the hype of the moment. They go do yafyemi or something like that. I'm doing it because they sincerely wouldn't know. The Vayichan will bring us Mashiach and now, if the Shavuos will make a final commitment that not Sevi Nishma, the Vayichan wants to hear it. Hatzlacha Rabba.
כאיש אחד, אוי אוי בלב אחד, Vayichan Sham Yisrael.